Hey everyone. Thank you for tuning in today. Today is another offline episode. I know we've been having quite a few of those recently, but it's just kind of how it's turned out. This weekend was a little bit more planned for the offline episode. This was one I definitely wanted to have. I brought Matt Hilton on the show to discuss FanFest, and I think the conversation went really, really well. I got all the questions I wanted answered in there, and I hope that you guys get something out of it. It was kind of neat to go through and talk about all the different pieces of the puzzle that is FanFest. On another note, we will be having that giveaway. It will be the FanFest ticket giveaway. We'll be doing it after the show's over. And now there's a couple things you probably want to know about that. One, again, I'm going to say this multiple times throughout the show as well. This is a giveaway that MogTalk's doing. Has nothing to do with Square Enix or the community team. I'm doing it purely on one of the tickets that I had that I purchased that was extra. And the ticket is not something you can sell, so I would only really recommend it if you are wanting to go to FanFest or you have a friend that you want to bring with you to FanFest and you have the means to get there. Because the ticket is simply going to be the entry to FanFest. I'm not going to be able to provide you with anything else, any travel plans, anything, food, whatever you want to have, on your trip there. So just make sure that when you guys enter the giveaway that you kind of understand that, because I don't want you to win the ticket and then not go and nothing really happens with it. I do definitely want somebody who could use the ticket to have the ticket. But that all being said, the show is going to come up. I don't have any commercials this time. It's a commercial-free show. We're going to pretty much substitute that with our giveaway. And I hope you guys definitely enjoy it. I'll go ahead and shut up and let you guys watch it. So I'll be back here in just a bit. Enjoy, guys. Bye. Welcome, everyone. For you, it will be Saturday, September the 3rd, 2016. I'm Frosty, and this is MogTalk. If you are new to the show, MogTalk is a podcast where the Final Fantasy XIV community comes together and discusses anything from Chocobo Racing to Savage Raiding. Today, we are actually going to have a very special episode. We're going to be discussing the upcoming 2016 FanFest. And to do that, I have a wonderful member of the North American Final Fantasy XIV community team with us. It is Matt Hilton, also known as Bayonne. How are you doing, Matt?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks. You got Bayonne right, so I'm happy. Most people have their own pronunciations for it, but
Yeah.
I thought Bayonne's pretty easy. But here we are.
I don't know. It just
So I'm
you
doing
see
good.
you see all those letters in there, and you start just I don't know. It jumbles a little bit of
You
everything.
overthink it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everyone knows I completely dash up every single name that I can. So I did
Nice.
good.
Yep.
So, Matt, so give everyone a little bit of detail here about when you joined the community team and kind of what your role is over there.
Sure. Let's see. It's been a long time. I think I joined the community team starting with FF11 back in 2005. So 10, 11 years now. Well, one of my main responsibilities these days, I'm actually leading the team, who you guys are probably really familiar with on the FF14 side, with Devin and Aya and Shannon and Tony, Kamate, Zexos. Oh, God, I can't remember everybody's names. But we do a lot of the stuff that you see, whether it's on a lodestone, whether it's on, especially for fan festival stuff. But we're kind of in charge of handling all the different things that are really player facing, making sure you guys are getting the most up-to-date information. So things like letter from the producer live, forum posting on the dev tracker, and also kind of taking player feedback wherever we see it, whether that's the forums, Reddit, things like that, and giving it to the dev team so that they're aware of what our North American player base is saying. We do a lot of liaisoning with the other regions. Of course, it's a very global game. So we work with our Japanese counterparts and our European counterparts very closely to make sure everybody's on the same page and that everything's going smoothly. So it's a busy job, but it's really, so far it's been really fun. I've been doing it for 10 years, so I must be doing something right. So, yeah.
All right. That's awesome, man. And it's definitely an honor to have you here on the show.
Thanks.
Yeah. The one thing viewers might notice, you might see a couple of little icons pop up over like a little mute symbol and all that stuff. That's because we're using a kind of a different way of doing the video chat today. So if you see those guys, just kind of ignore them. It'll be all right. The main reason I wanted to do the show is because when I went to Final Fantasy XIV FanFest in 2014, it was really mind-boggling to me, kind of how well that show kind of turned out. I was floored by it. And I wanted to actually go into exploring how much work really goes into making these shows happen. Even though it's only over 2 days worth of time, it's a lot of work. So also, everyone who is actually watching right now, stay tuned. We will be doing a small giveaway. We don't do a lot of giveaways, but today I felt like it was a good time to do a giveaway, which will be 1 ticket to FanFest. The giveaway is purely a product of MogTalk and is not affiliated with the community team or Square Enix in any way. But we'll go more into the details after the show. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Are you ready, Matt?
Yeah, I'm super ready to talk about FanFest.
All right, excellent. So the first question I want to ask is, like I said, I think these things take a lot of planning. These events are extremely detail-oriented. When does this process start, though? When do you start having a discussion at work and saying, hey, we need to start doing this. This is a priority. We need to start thinking about it.
Well, I definitely don't think it's an exaggeration to say that, as soon as we finish the previous event, we're already kind of thinking about the next one, especially for, Fan Festival when compared to things like E3 or PAX West or PAX East and things like that. Those, of course, take time to plan and, produce, but Fan Festival is a whole other beast. So it's definitely in the back of our minds, even starting as soon as the other events finishes, after we sleep for like a good week or two after the event, we start to brainstorm and think about, the future. We obviously, don't start the nitty-gritty planning until we start getting closer towards the actual date that we're shooting for. But, we always kind of think about things like, as soon as we finish the 2014 event, we're thinking about, okay, what worked, what didn't work, what do we want to adjust, things like that. That planning starts pretty soon after, and it's always something that's in the back of our minds. Especially, it's really useful when you just finish an event to have all the ups and downs and pros and cons in your head right away and kind of act from there. But yeah, the nitty-gritty starting doesn't begin until I don't even want to give a time frame because it's really very fluid. It's it's hard to say. It's not like there's not like a day we come into the office and we're like, okay, now we'll start, the actual planning. It's always it's really fluid, and we're always kind of thinking about it in the back of our head.
Yeah. So, and that's really interesting to hear because it's been 2 years. So you guys have had this in the back of your head for 2 years now, and so you're always thinking about it in some way or fashion, right?
Yep.
All right, and so Yoshida doesn't just kind of come into the office or like goes onto a meeting call with you and then says, "Hey, it's time for you guys to start working. We need to start getting details on that." Or is there's no like just period of, hey, it's time to start working our butts off on this?
Yeah, I don't think there's like a day that the switchover happens or anything like that, or the demand from on high from Yoshida comes down or anything like that. I think it's, like I said, it's super collaborative. Like even just our normal work, working with Japan and Europe, it's really a collaborative experience, especially with Fan Festival, because, well, it's 3 different events, Japan, Europe, and North America. It's really a good chance for us to kind of collaborate and think about things we want to do globally too at the same time. So it's not just like completely different experiences across the globe. We really we did get a long summit. We had kind of I think I tweeted about this mid to end last year, where we had the teams from other offices come over for like a week long kind of boot camp of brainstorming and hammering out details and things like that. But yeah, 2015 is when we kind of get like a lot of the details solidified, and then we have a pretty decent amount. I would always love more time, obviously,
Right.
but we have a good amount of time to start planning the nitty-gritty details.
I mean, that's pretty awesome. A boot camp where everyone just kind of comes together from all the different teams. How many
Yeah.
teams? It's 3 total teams? 4?
Yep.
Okay, 3.
Yep. So we have different representatives from Japan and Europe, and we all kind of take it on like we'll represent the NA event, and we'll have the events team, and it's really collaborative. It's not just like the community team or the marketing team. It's everybody kind of being in one room. I was actually surprised we fit in one of our largest meeting rooms. We had tons of people with all their equipment, and it was a lot of fun.
That's awesome. I mean, how does, just out of my own curiosity, how does the communication work? Do you just, everyone just easily communicates with everybody in English, or is it just like...
It depends. I mean, everybody's varying levels of
Okay.
different languages. We obviously have people on our team who are fluent, like Devin and Tony. But we also have like translators who come in, and a lot of the European team, everybody speaks English. A lot of the Japanese team too. We all work together for so long, we kind of already
Okay.
know what we're talking about. I don't speak Japanese as good as Devin or Tony, but working with these guys for 10 plus years, I'm like, okay, I know where this is going, that kind of stuff. But it's pretty smooth. We never really have any problems.
That's awesome, man. So I'll bring this back a little bit. I'm starting to
Sure.
do my derailing thing here. So I want to actually go into when this planning starts for FanFest. Is there anything that you just have to make sure is done before everything else? Is there like one vital key part like that builds the foundation of FanFest? What would that be?
I would definitely say I think the venue, probably the most important. It literally probably the most important aspect. It's always tough to find exactly what we can use, what we need it for. Multi-day event with thousands and thousands of people that not only has access to hotels where people can stay at. It's not like people just materialize for these kind of events. They have to stay somewhere. Location is really important. So I would think that that's the most important thing. So once we are able to lock down the venue, our location, that's when we can start really being creative and knowing what we can do and what's exciting stuff we can plan once we have a space 100% locked down.
Okay. I mean, is there anything else that you have when you're starting out that you need to make sure is done besides just the venue?
No, I mean honestly, everything kind of springs from that, I guess.
Okay.
It's really, once you have that starting point, that base, you can build upon, anything. You have, imagine you just have an open room. That's what you basically start with
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to like an event like this, as opposed to like PAX or E3 where you have like a small space and you work within that space. When it comes to like a fan festival where you control the entire space, that's the fun part. Is once that stuff's locked down, then you can start shooting for the moon and deciding what kind of cool things you want to do.
Okay. So I imagine, again, all of you guys working together to do this is not a stress-free kind of situation. Are you guys all like really tense and stressed out from all this? How do you keep your heads together? I mean,
That's a great question. I think I got like a 1 or 2 gray hairs. You probably can't, don't want to see it, but just from planning and stuff like that, it's really fun. But at the same time, it's a lot of work and it's a lot of it can be stressful sometimes. But at the end of the day, honestly, the most important thing to us is just that we're creating something that the attendees will have fun with. I mean, that's the main reason we're doing it. That's kind of what keeps you going. It's like knowing that late nights and long discussions and heated debates are going to kind of pay off in the end when it comes to the attendees having fun and enjoying themselves. And honestly, getting to see that is like the most satisfying experience for me, is when you actually see the players at the event and just having a good time. So that keeps you going. It can be definitely stressful, and there's deadlines, and you start to learn a lot about production and like how far out things deadlines need to be for X. You would assume, oh, this is no problem.
Yeah.
Send this a week ahead of now. You're like, oh, you need 30 business days. Oh, okay, so we're already like that kind of stuff. But it's totally all that stress and all the long nights at times is totally uh, worth it when you see players and attendees having fun at the event you created.
Yeah, and by the way, everyone who's watching this right now might have seen like the camera flip real quick, and Matt jumped into my frame, and it was only him. But I fixed it real
Nice,
quick. I have a weird setup to
nice.
try to make this work, and it did a little bit of a freak out. It might do it again, so I apologize for it, but we're all back to normal now.
It's all good, man. Don't stress it. I'm sure people are having a good time. Just like Fan Festival, you can't
Yeah.
stress the little things. Just have fun.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned that. I work with these small projects all the time with what I do
Hmm.
in my actual job, and they'll say, "Hey, we're starting, we're going. It's opening this day. This is what we're gonna do." 2 months
Yeah.
later, after that day, we actually open it up and it actually starts to work and
Yeah.
everything. I mean, it's just planning anything, any major project is gonna delay you. But you guys don't have that luxury. Once you set that date, it has to be done. Uh, so that's pretty interesting. And how?
Thanks for reminding me about that. Yeah, I
Yeah,
forgot.
yeah, of course. So when you guys decide the date, and I'm sorry, I'm kind of sidetracking a little bit, but when you
Sure.
decide that date, when do you feel it's actually a safe time to announce and say this is the day that things are going to happen? We have a way of making it work on this day.
I don't know. I don't know that we have any 100% foolproof thing. It's more just like, okay, our venue is locked in. We know for sure that that date is what's happening. So it's kind of like, no matter what, we're building towards that date. Not to say that everything's uh, not going smooth, but I mean, obviously, it's awesome when you have a deadline because it keeps everybody focused and it keeps everybody kind of moving, which is really good. Because, like I said, we talked about a little bit earlier, like the nitty gritty planning doesn't happen until you have like a clear timeline and things like that. So even just having dates that we announced when we announced, I think we announced Fan Festival, the major dates last December, I think during the Letter from the Producer Live.
Hmm.
And since then we've been just full steam ahead. It's so far
Yeah,
so good.
excellent, man. All right, so going through all this, the things that produce, I guess, the most stress are some of the hurdles that you're going to be running into.
Sure.
Since, I guess, when you announce the date, you're going to start running into these hurdles. What are some of the biggest hurdles you have to deal with when planning the event out?
Ah, man. I guess it really depends. There's always going to be some kind of challenges, or when it comes to huge events like this, PAX and E3 and stuff like that are really big events, and those are a lot of people. But you only see so many of those people at your booth, at a given time, or things like that. But when you are in charge of running the entire event, on your own, you really start to see, okay, how is this going to work for this? Like, as a person that's attending, how are they going to experience this and that kind of thing. You really get like a really broad perspective of it.
All right.
But I think one of the things that kind of gets us through that is really just staying focused and keeping in mind, like I kind of touched on a little bit earlier, it's all about the fun and the experience. So it's a lot easier to, especially with the date, like I mentioned, especially when you have a deadline and things like that, it's a lot easier to stay focused when you think about what needs to be done, and everybody really kind of comes together really well, especially on my team. We're doing a lot of different stuff that we may not do before, and we're all kind of learning at the same time. It's really cool to see people adapting to changing environments and things like that. And it's never just like a static kind of, oh, okay, I'll come in, I'll do this. It's every day is always kind of a unique experience, but staying focused is all about kind of just, I guess, making sure you need to adapt. Adapting is probably one of the most important aspects of event planning like this. It's
All right.
super key and vital.
Is there any examples of anything that you can give us that you had to adapt to recently, or?
Let's see. I don't know how nitty gritty to get. I mean, just in general, you can think about deadlines. Like I kind of touched on earlier, you might assume, oh, if we're working with a vendor to create, goodie bag items or printed materials, sometimes you can assume, you might have more time than you have, and it's all about kind of like, oh, they came back and they said they needed it by this Friday, and you're like, okay, well, let's get it done. We don't. It's it's really cool to see my team, everybody really pitching in and working hard and not freaking out like the sky is falling or anything when we get those kind of things that happen sometimes. You can't plan for every single thing, but
Right.
being able to adapt to things like shifting timelines or this person that makes decisions on something is out of the office, they're out sick, and you're like, okay, well, we'll make it work, we'll figure it out. That kind of stuff is really key for these kind of events.
Okay. So all this work that you guys put into this event, some people could be very pessimistic, I guess, about it, and they could say, "Oh, well, they're doing all this, and it doesn't matter. They're going to get some sort of profit out of it. It's something that you want to do because it's a product, and they're going to get some sort of value from that." Is there anything that you guys really get from doing all this?
I mean, I guess it's to be clear that Fan Festival is first and foremost a player event. It's for players to have fun. We do announcements, we do fun things like the dev team doing dev panels, Q&A and things like that. And first and foremost, it's all about just having fun with our attendees and our fans and our players around the world. It's really not an avenue for us to make revenue. We don't look at it like that at all. I don't obviously want to get into super details of it, but it's not about like, okay, we're in the black, we're good, or we're making profit. It's not about that at all. It's all about providing a fun experience for people to have a chance to meet. And one of the coolest things about Fan Festival and events like that is just giving people the opportunity to have one spot they can actually meet up with their friends, like free company people who have never had a chance to meet before. But by creating like this beacon of Fan Festival, you have one spot where you're kind of drawing everybody together and just seeing people have fun at the event, even if they're not in the showroom, the ballroom floor, things like that. I'm moving, I swear, I'm alive. It's really cool, it's really fun. And so we don't look at it as like, oh, we need to make X amount of revenue from this, or we need to make profit. That's not remotely the point of Fan Festival. It's all about just creating a space for FF14 fans to get together to have a place to kind of celebrate and have fun. That's our main goal.
And I mean, that was definitely achieved in 2014, without a doubt. I was able to meet a lot of really cool people out there. And
nice.
One of my favorite things is that people were running around with these LED signs on their iPads or phones saying, "From this server, if you're from this server, come over here." And I think there was one server, I forget which one it was, they had this giant poster board for everyone to come up and sign on it that they were going to like take home or something like that.
Nice. Yeah, people get really creative, and it's really cool to see the different ways. Even with FF14, where we have so many different worlds and different data centers and stuff, people find a way to kind of meet up with each other, and even if they don't go there specifically to meet free company friends or end up making friends with people. We do things like our live quest, which kind of encourages you to form a group with people that you may not even know and have fun and kind of learn about each other. Like, that's one of the cool things about Fan Festival.
I think last year I did Kerr and I did this thing where someone on Reddit was like, "Hey, let's make a group together of 8 and go around and do all the events together and everything else."
Nice.
And those people, we still talk to most of them.
Nice.
It's kind of interesting to think about it. And the people who are going to FanFest aren't your average, I'm playing the game, whatever, I don't really care. These are people who are diehard fans. They spent money because they want to go to this convention and see all this stuff happening. So everyone there is extremely excited about the game, and you can have an easy conversation about anything. And it's extremely easy to relate. You can't just go to a coffee shop and be like, "Hey, that fight, T9 or T5 or oh man, I hate that fight because of so and so. Oh, I love that fight because of this." When the music kicks in, those conversations happen all the time at FanFest.
Yeah, I mean, like, compared to E3 or PAX or something where you're kind of like, oh, who here is an FF14 player? And you're trying to find like-minded people. Here, it's like that's your default, is that everybody's playing 14 and having a good time. So it's easy to just walk up and like, oh, let's talk about our favorite fights, or I can't believe that they had this mechanic, that kind of stuff. It's just super simple and easy to strike up a conversation, which is, again, like what I said, that's one of the main goals. It's just to have people come together and have fun with each other.
Yeah. All right. So I want to go a little bit into some of the comparisons between the last event and this event. I mean, looking
Sure.
back 2 years ago, how different has the planning been so far since you went through it last time?
Hmm. I don't think that there's anything that's like super drastically different. Definitely, like I said, it takes, people say it takes a village to raise a child. It takes everybody working together to make an event like this, happen. I mean, people in Japan are getting approvals and working with the dev team and liaisoning. Um, and we're also, working with the counterparts in Europe, getting ideas and brainstorming
Hmm.
often. So it's pretty similar each time. I mean, it's really, like I said, a collaborative process. Um, so we kind of, do all that stuff ahead of time so that we avoid all the last minute, we don't have a stage show for this time slot, that kind of
Right.
stuff. So, I mean, I don't say there's anything super different this time. Obviously, there's, things here and there that we've changed, but from
Hmm.
a planning and creation perspective, it's pretty similar.
Okay. Were there any like issues at all from last year that you're like, oh, we're going to make sure that this doesn't happen at all coming into this fan fest?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, like when we do the kind of wrap up reports or the kind of internal reviews on how the event
Okay.
went and things like that, especially after 2014, you know exactly the kind of things you want to adjust.
Hmm.
There's always going to be little things, and there's also going to be big things to address. So it's great when we get to hear the attendee feedback. We had a lot of people posting on the forum after the event and things like that, and talking
Right.
to us in person. And they would give us like, oh, if you could change this, it'd be cool. So we definitely keep things like that in mind. So I'll give you some examples of
Sure.
some stuff that we're looking to address. So one of the things I wanted to address from working with our awesome cosplayers last time, the costume contest entry people, um, there was people who talked about the fact that it was over 2 days. So we had basically the judging was on day one, so they wore their costumes. They did like preliminary judging and things like that, so we can narrow down the finalists.
Hmm.
And then we had the actual costume contest on the second day, so they had to again wear their outfits and check and see if they were one of the finalists, things like that. So one of the things I really wanted to address this time is to have it all in one day, so they don't have to worry about. Obviously they can still wear their outfit on day two, but they don't have to worry about getting dressed up again if they don't want to. They just want to relax and enjoy the second day of the show. So that's one
Hmm.
of the things that we got direct feedback from our awesome costume contest
No, that makes
participants.
complete sense. Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's one of the things that when you hear about when you're getting the feedback, you're like, yeah, that makes total sense. You know what I mean?
mhm.
So that's really awesome when it's a collaborative effort with our players. Other thing I'm sure everybody would probably agree is merchandise, the merchandise line experience for
Mhm.
Fan Festival. Um, I won't get into the super details, but the 2016 Fan Festival merchandise experience should be greatly improved over last time. And
Yeah.
we're working. We know that players had a hard time with long lines and only a few cash registers and things like that. So we've done a lot of work to ensure that this time's going to be a much smoother process, and we have a lot of
Awesome.
cool stuff that we'll have available for players.
That's awesome.
So those, that's a big one, of course.
Yeah.
So we're excited once we start making announcements or revealing the kind of stuff that we have to show for merchandise this year. I'm sure people get really excited, and hopefully that they can rest assured that we learned a lot from the 2014 merchandise experience,
Yeah.
and this one will be a lot smoother.
Yeah. And I definitely appreciate it. I'm going to try to get one of everything if I can, maybe five of everything, uh,
Nice,
and get as much as I can signed. Because
nice.
I remember talking and seeing the developers out there on the floor the entire time, and they were completely awesome and open for signing stuff. They were ready. They were ready to do it, and I love it for
Yeah,
those guys.
that's one of the things. I mean, we try to make it, try to give them enough time where they're free to do that. Because it's rare. It's rarer for some of those team members to actually have a chance to interact one to one with North American players. I
Hmm.
mean, there's always going to be a language barrier and things like that, but there's like so much enthusiasm and fun from people just having a chance to talk to them and say, "Oh, I love this fight," for like our battle director last time and
Hmm.
things like that. And so it's really cool. It's awesome for me to see them super excited and interacting with people.
Right.
So I'm looking forward to that again this year.
Okay. And I'm just remembering on your first point about the cosplay stuff, about how wearing the costume 2 days in a row was kind of rough. And I was remembering the cosplayer who did Garuda and had the stilts, I think, or they had something to kind of lift him. And there's no way she could really walk around and do anything except for be on stage for that point.
Exactly.
That makes complete sense to me.
It's insane. I mean, some of the effort that people put into the costumes, and we just ended our costume and art contest submission last night at midnight, I think. So we have all of our art entries in, we have our costume entries in, and just seeing like we had them submit work in progress shots, and seeing some of the people's work in progress shots, you're just like, wow, this is gonna be really awesome outfit once it's all completed at Fan Festival. So I'm really excited. It's always so cool to see people's creativity when it comes to like costumes and the art contests and things like that, because people just go all out. And it's like I can't do any of that stuff, so I'm just like in awe of everything I see. I'm like, yeah, I could probably wear something
you could come
that
as
you gave
Titan,
me.
man. I think that you could do it. Just, I mean, that's your
have, like,
icon, right? You just
foam and
why not?
foam core. Yeah, that'd be cool.
All right.
Good. Now I have a last minute. I'll have to have a Titan suit created or something.
If you have enough money, you'd have to do it all out of pocket, but you could pay someone who makes the costumes to do it. I believe in you, man.
I'm sure there would be a rush charge at that point. At some point.
$20,000 rush charge or something like that. Yeah.
Jeez.
Okay. So the other question to that, seeing all the new art, the cosplay, and everything else that's coming in for this one, and all the details of the event coming up, do you think that this one's going to compare to 2014? Is it going to be better than 2014? What should we kind of expect?
I think everybody's working to make that a reality. I mean, it's always tough to try to gauge player reaction ahead of time, but a lot of the things that we're all players ourselves, so we're trying to design things that are fun for you guys that are attending to have fun and enjoy. And I think we have some pretty interesting things planned that we haven't announced yet, and that I think people will get really hyped for and have a lot of fun with. We worked really hard on some of the mini games and things like that this time that are going to be interesting. It's tough to say, oh, is this better than last time, or is it everybody's different, right? Hopefully, I think we're all working as hard as we can to make sure everybody has a great time. And just hearing you say that 2014 was super high bar is great to hear, because again, we worked really hard on that one. So I think as long as we keep going, we should be. I think you tell me after the event. I want you to let me know what you thought and give us your feedback. I think you're gonna have a great time, and I'm looking forward to hearing everybody's feedback.
So when you guys are cleaning up everything on Sunday, I'll come by and I'll say, Matt, you messed this up entirely, or something like that.
That sounds fair. That seems like something that would happen. Being an MC, I'm sure I'll flub some lines or something. I did. I don't think I had any issues in 2014, but I'm sure I'll jinx it at some point.
I didn't remember any. Now I'm going to look for them, right? And so I'm going to have a little piece of paper, and I'm going to just mark it each time. Just
make a number, and you just hold up the sign. 3 times you messed up. I'd be like, oh, thanks, man.
Yeah. I'll do it. Don't worry.
Great. Looking forward to it.
Okay, so I have just a variety of little quick questions.
Sure.
First, one of the things, some people are kind of disappointed about this. Some people may be actually content with it. Is you had VIP passes last year. They were given out, and the people who got them had these nice little advantages. They were able to get in early for things like the merch line and just get onto the floor and do a couple other VIP things. This year, you're removing that as an option. Do you know what the reasoning for that is?
Yeah, I mean, there's a variety of reasons. It's not any like one particular, oh, we got really bad feedback, we got positive feedback. And even though we're not doing it this time, it's not to say we won't do it again in the future. It's more just when we look at the overall event, from the overall perspective, like I said, a lot of what we do is kind of seeing the big picture. It just didn't really seem like it fit this time because how we're doing some things differently and how we want to increase different aspects of the show that we didn't have a chance to last time. So again, it's not really like, oh, we hated the VIP experience or we got feedback that players didn't like it. All the feedback we got were really positive, and as you mentioned, some people were kind of bummed we didn't have it again this time.
Mm-hmm.
So we may do it again in the future. It just didn't really fit for the 2016 event that we've been planning, and we didn't want to shoehorn it in. We didn't want to make it a lesser experience than what it was last time. So we decided, let's not do it this time. Let's see if we want to do it again in the future. It's always going to be case by case, and every region is different too. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, it was just one of those things that we chose not to do for a variety of reasons. It's not like I can give you, oh, this one specific thing is, something like that. I don't have any good dirt for you, but but yeah, we may consider it in the future. It just didn't work out this time.
Okay, that's fine. I didn't get the VIP passes last year.
Sure.
And I was jealous of everyone who walked around with the golden shirts and everything. And
the golden shirt, yeah.
Yeah, and so...
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, so this year I was planning before, they were going, I was like, I'm getting one. I'm going to look cool. I'm going to walk around with that shirt. And I was a little bit disappointed to hear it, but at the same time, I understand, you guys see the big picture of everything. You kind of know what would fit and what works well. And I'm sure it makes complete sense for it not to be there, so...
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there are definitely people that were, a little bit bummed, but I think once they go to the event, I'll have a great time. It doesn't matter if you're VIP or, the regular Warrior of Light. I think everybody will have a good time. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see if we do it again in the future. I mean, I'm not going to rule it out, obviously.
Yeah. Okay. So the other thing is that we're starting to notice a little bit of a trend. I mean, after 2 events, that it's in Vegas, right? And so it was Vegas the first time, now we're doing Vegas again. Is there a reason for why Vegas is such a great place to host the event?
There's a few different reasons. I mean, Las Vegas is kind of a nice kind of location because it's fairly accessible from anywhere in the U.S. Or specifically in the continent. It's by the fact that it is Vegas, it's kind of a big tourist spot, so there's often sometimes cheap tickets on flights or even hotels. So it's something that we consider when we think about where we want to have the fan festival, especially given the fact that it's not, I don't want to say it's super central, obviously, in North America and the United States, but it's obviously leans more to the West Coast. Right. But because, like I said, it is kind of accessible from anywhere, Las Vegas itself does a lot of hey, come visit Vegas. There's a lot of deals and discounts and things like that. So that's been one of the positive reasons that we've been looking into Vegas. I don't want to say that we're always going to be in Vegas. I don't think 2 is a pattern yet. We'll see.
Okay.
I guess it's the start, of a pattern. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely not like it goes back to what I mentioned earlier about the venue. Finding a venue that works the best is the most important aspect, and so far we've found ones that are working really well in Vegas. The Paris that we're at now is really big compared to 2014, so we have more room to do more things, which was a big thing for us. But like I said, it's not a guarantee. It's not like, oh, next time we have Fan Festival, we'll do in Vegas again. It's always going to be a consideration. Okay. We keep in mind a variety of factors. It's not very exciting to say, oh, we have to consider this and this and this. We'll see. I mean, it really depends. There's no magical reason that we always choose Vegas or anything like that. It's just this had a great venue, things like that. It really comes down to that kind of mundane. I don't want to say mundane, but those kind of reasons.
That's the best reason. It makes sense to do it because there's lots of reasons for it. Just cheap for people to come over there, and it's overall more efficient to do it there. I mean, that's the best reason. Were there any other spots that you're like, maybe this is a comparable location to Vegas, or?
I mean, this time, for what we wanted to do and what venues we had access to, I mean, this made the most sense.
Okay.
But we've always had, we've had players that have asked for things East Coast for sure. So we're happy when we can do things like PAX East because we feel that's a really good kind of a nice, huge East Coast event that we can attend. I don't think we've missed a PAX East in a few years now. I think that's what we try to do specifically. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't. If we can find a spot that seems like it fits for the players and where it makes sense for the event itself, then I will always consider it. But for this time, we found the best spot was Vegas again.
Okay. All right. So the other question I have for you here is retainers. Last year, or not last year, sorry, last event. It feels like last year for some reason, but
yeah,
it's going by really fast. On the last
thanks.
event,
I didn't realize that. I appreciate that.
no problem. I'm just reminding you. You did retainers. You had players could come up and they could volunteer to do a couple of just assistive chores, not chores, I guess, responsibilities.
Chores. Yeah.
They could kind of help out with the event, and then in turn they could kind of go and be part of FanFest. So, are you guys doing that this year, or you've decided against it?
Yeah, similar to the VIP program. We decided not to do it again this year. Of course, it doesn't mean we won't do it in the future. We just didn't think that we needed that level of help this time. We have a larger staff number count. And we know that some people love doing it. Some people love to volunteer. And it's really cool to actually spend some time with some of the volunteers when they're working the show and get to know them. And a lot of them are obviously very hardcore fans. There's not anybody who's like, oh, I'm level 5. I just started this game that's volunteering to be a retainer. They're all really hardcore. They'd love to help out. And we totally understand it. That's why we're not, totally dropping the program for the future or anything like that. It's just, again, similar to VIP, it didn't really make sense for this event. So we decided we didn't want to, shoehorn it in.
Mm-hmm.
Or, we didn't want to create a lesser experience for those people who are volunteering. A lot of the time they're able to get into the show, but at the same time they do, I think it's 2 shifts throughout the 2 days. And it kind of takes away from their time to experience the show and have fun. So it's pros and cons. This time we just felt that we would stick to staff and temp staff were more necessary.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it doesn't mean we won't do it in the future. It just didn't really work out for this show.
Okay. That's fine. It makes sense. So I'm going to take this to another turn here, and I want to talk a little bit about how your perspective, I guess, is at FanFest. I mean, during the 2014 event, in particular, were you able to even find time to go out, hit the slots and, take up a little bit of any of the event itself?
If you saw me at the 2014 event on the show floor, it was probably a very rare occasion. It's definitely something I want to change this time. Hoping to change this time. There's definitely a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff that goes on that I was involved in, so it was tough to find time to walk the show floor, see everybody, and have a good time. But one of the things I want to do this time is really hopefully try to get the time to go out there and enjoy the fruits of all of our hard work and see everybody having fun. We a lot of times when we're in backstage in the green room, people may think, oh, the green room, they're hanging out back there, dev team just chilling. And I'm like, no, mostly we're planning the next stage event or working on what's coming up next, or hastily eating a meal in the back room before we can go into our next thing. But I mean, it's totally worth it. It's all the stress and what's going on. It's really fun at the end of the day. So, but I am hoping to get out and really kind of see the show more this time. I did get a few after the show hours on night 1. I think I had a chance to see some of my real life friends who were there at the event, having a good time. They were showing me all the stuff they did. And I was like, yeah, we helped design that stuff. I'm glad you're having fun. And and I'm so jealous because they're collecting, they're getting merchandise, and I'm like, oh, I didn't get a chance to get merchandise. That's cool, and they're getting swag and stuff like that and showing off. I'm like, it's cool, but it's so fun just to hang out with them, even on 1 a.m. in the hotel room, just to relax after a long day and just talk and catch up, because we don't have a chance to meet up with each other very often. Again, like I said, Fan Festival is this kind of beacon. But yeah, hopefully this time I'll have some more time to go around, talk to people, and enjoy the show with everybody. I think the best part last time for me was getting to see the concert, But it was just so cool just to go out there, and like the energy was just so insane from all the crowd, and like the rock music and stuff, and it was so cool. And then like near the end, I was like, oh yeah, I gotta run backstage and prepare for the closing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was super fun.
I remember that concert extremely well. We were debating, Kerr and I, we were thinking, well, should we stay? It's Sunday night. You know, we got to go do work stuff the next day. Do we want to stay around for this? And a couple people left, and they're like, oh, here's our raffle ticket, whatever, you know. It's like, okay, well, I guess let's stay. Why not? When are we going to see something like this?
Sure.
And then when they got out on stage and the lights dimmed, and it was just like a rock show just out of nowhere. And it was all Final Fantasy, and everyone was kind of geeking out together, and it was... I don't know. It was one of my favorite concerts I've ever been to, just because of how
it was awesome.
unique it was, right? And I was really happy for that. And I'll ask you another question about that in a second, because that, again, one of my favorite events at the FanFest was simply that concert. But I also wanted to ask you a little bit about, you said people kind of think that maybe the developers are kind of hanging out, you're back there hanging out with them and everything else. How are the developers even handling the event? Do they just kind of fly in the night before, have no sleep at all, and just walk around on like energy drinks, or how do they manage?
It's a good question. Probably a mix of caffeine, energy drinks, and then I think one of the biggest things is just the adrenaline from the crowd. Like I said, I mean, people are so excited to be there. You can really feel the energy. And I know those guys, they fly in like a day or so before the event, you know, before, so we can do rehearsals and things like that. And so they're entirely myself. I'm sure Yoshida at this point doesn't even have an internal clock because he's just so used to being in different time zones all the time. But I mean, like some of the dev team guys, they just come in, like even the band, you know, the Primals, when they came in, did rehearsals, and then they did the show, and it's just like, I don't know how you guys did it. And then another one of the things too is immediately after, remember in 2014 we had the European Fan Festival, like literally the next weekend. So everybody that flew into Vegas did that show, and then we all flew to Europe to do the European show. And I think it's just, I mean, for me personally, it's the excitement of everybody there and just being able to talk to fans. It really keeps you going, man. It gets you really excited. You don't really feel it. I mean, we probably all crashed afterwards, but but everybody being there and having a good time and just being super excited about FF14, and you don't feel it at all. I'm sure it'll be the same this time, where if we're up late doing rehearsals or last minute checks on things, I'm sure we'll just go in there and have a good time. It's all about having fun and just, you know.
You guys will have bags under your eyes and just like a big smile on your face still, right?
Yeah. I'll have to learn how to do makeup, or have my wife do some makeup to cover up my bags or something. But yeah, I mean, when you go out there on the stage, and for me as MC, it's a mixture of stress and excitement, just seeing thousands of people looking at you, you know. But it's awesome. Everybody's having a good time. They're enjoying. Yoshida has good jokes. I don't know. Maybe has a good writer. I don't know. I need to find out how he does it.
He just has to say like 2 words. And just like, he's good.
They always work, you know. But yeah, I think it's just a mixture of excitement from the fans that just keeps everybody stoked and happy, you know.
So I'm going to ask you a question, and you can get mad at me for asking this question if you want to. We're talking about jokes, and then we talked about going out on stage in front of a whole bunch of people. Do you ever go out on stage and you're like, I got this joke, I know it's going to work out wonderfully. You say it, and then just like 2 people clap, and then do you have any of those kind of experiences going out there?
I'm sure I have. I probably blocked them out of my memory, so I don't have to worry about it. Honestly, my style of like doing that stuff, I don't really, you know, ask for this MC role. It just kind of over time developed. It started with the first fan festival for FF11 back in 2006, and I don't know how I got roped into that one, but it just kind of just spiraled from there. And then personally, for me, it's nerve-wracking every time, but I just kind of just wing it. Somehow, like I get through it okay, and I'm happy. I don't have to worry too much. I think everybody's there is there to have fun. So if I look like I'm having fun on the stage, I think everybody has a good time.
Right.
Thankfully, I don't think I've had any
complete
major joke bombs.
Crickets. Yeah. Uh,
I do. I'll say things that I know I think are funny to myself, or
mhm,
our friends here, everybody here has a certain kind of humor that we're all used to,
mhm.
and maybe it doesn't translate as well, but so far it's been okay. I haven't had any crickets, and I haven't had like the flashing light in the back saying "wrap it up" or
Yeah, it's
"get
a
off the
cane
stage" or
come
anything.
across the stage and just
Yeah, it
pull you
just
off.
pulls me off. I'm like,
Yeah.
good luck. Have a good night, folks. Tip your waitress.
Yeah. Did you have any kind of public speaking classes or anything beforehand? You just kind of went in there and made it happen?
Yep. I don't. It was one of those things. They're like, "Oh, Matt will MC." I'm like, "All right, sure. This can't be that bad, right?" And I'm like, "Oh wait, yeah. Public speaking is like
It's a serious
horrifying."
thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. You just at this point, I'm just used to it, but nothing
Okay.
formal or anything like that.
All right. Well, that's amazing to hear. I took a small public speaking class a long time ago,
Oh
and
yeah.
just being in a room of like 20 people, you're like all nervous and everything because they grade you and all this stuff. But like, some people could just do it, and that's amazing.
Yeah.
But every single person who goes on stage, no matter if they've done it a billion times, if they've done it just one time, they always butterflies. They're always kind of
Oh
nervous
yeah.
beforehand. You always have those. The way you're a good speaker is if you can cover that up and you can just run with it.
Yep.
So
There are definitely times where I'm up there. I'm just like, I have no idea what I just said, and I'm like, I think it's working. Just keep going with it, that kind of stuff. I don't, we don't do like, especially with even our counterparts in Japan, like Foxconn, Morochi-san, who does the letter from the producer live and things like that. He does the same thing. He's been doing MCing for so long that it's just used to. We're just used to it, I guess, and we're just kind of just have fun and just relax and get through it.
hmm
As long as you're having a good time, hopefully everybody else is having a good time too.
So, all right. So I'll get back on track here. Sorry, just popped into my
No
head.
problem.
Um, so again, I want to go back to the concert. It was one of my favorite events, 2014. We recently found out there is going to be another concert coming up, and this one is on Friday night instead of Saturday night, which is the last night, right? And so, what made
So
that
we
decision?
so we actually have two concerts this
Oh,
time.
okay.
So it's not just a combination in one night. We're actually doing so Friday night. What we just announced today, literally,
hmm
is the fact that we're going to have a piano concert, and we'll have vocals by the amazingly talented Susan Calloway. So they'll be putting on a show Friday night. So that'll close out the show on Friday night. So that'll be kind of a nice, mellow and kind of, enjoying this piano music and arrangements and things like that. And then, of course, obviously,
hmm
uh, Susan's vocals will be amazing. I'm sure everybody's freaking out. So far on my Twitter feed, everybody's like, yeah, finally, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
But then on Saturday night, to close out the full show, we'll be having the Primals back again. And I'm very excited to see what kind of craziness that Soken will get up to, no doubt, I'm sure. But yeah, this time we're going to have two concerts, so we're really excited to see everybody's reaction. I think it's going to be really nice. Friday night is kind of like a nice chill,
hmm
kind of, enjoying the piano music and Susan Calloway singing, and then
hmm
we'll close the show with a bang with the crazy primal music, and I'm excited.
So I have to, of course, ask because one of the biggest highlights was Koji coming up and he started doing the King Moogle song, right?
Yep.
So do we can we look forward to that?
I mean, Cody's going to be there. I haven't talked to him about what he has planned or what Soken has planned for him. I would I would be surprised if they don't have something fun in store. So
hmm
obviously, I don't have anything to say now,
Right.
but I think people, no matter what, anytime Koji is on stage, I think people will have a good time. I
Yeah.
think uh, even as the lore panel that we did last time uh, led to some interesting conversations and some
hmm
funny topics. So whenever Koji takes the stage, it's more just like I kind of shrink it back and I'm like, all right, Koji, you're in charge here. I'll
Right.
just follow your lead wherever this goes. That's always the most fun thing. So I don't know. For the concerts, we'll see. We'll have to see what they do.
Yeah, one of my favorite things is seeing the chemistry between him and Soken like every single time. It's like they're best friends and they like went to college together or something and they're big drinking. I don't know, they just like are perfect together and they always fit really well.
Yeah, they do. I mean, they work together really closely. Koji's talked about how they do like the primal lyrics and things like that at the past PAX East panel we had last year. I think it was last
Hmm.
year. He talked about how he works with Soka, and it's always an interesting, dynamic between those two. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
All right. So the other question I have about the event is dealing with merchandise. We talked a little bit about it,
Hmm.
and it was revealed, and you've enlightened me a little bit earlier before the show. That I thought I knew everything, but apparently I missed it. Is some of the merchandise that people will actually get. Let's actually, before we talk about the stream merchandise, what about the merchandise being offered on the floor? Is there anything you can tell us on that, from like shirts, art, like plush Moogles, anything like that?
Um, well, if you saw the letter from the excuse me, if you saw the letter from the producer live last, when was it? Friday
Mm-hmm.
night. So 31.
Yeah.
They did reveal the Odin statue. So we are going to be bringing an Odin statue. It will be debuting at the North America Fan Festival. The brand new items will be showing off. Um, they actually showed. I don't know if it's the final one or work in progress. But they actually had the actual statue on the show, so you should check out. I'm sure some people screen capped it and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it looks awesome, and we've been excited to showcase it for a long time. So I'm super happy they finally revealed it because I'm dying to pre-order one. And the cool thing is, I think they said that they're going to start pre-orders. We'll start pre-orders after our fan festival. So if you go to the show, you'll have a chance to buy it ahead of time, and
Mm-hmm.
then the pre-order versions will ship in December. But the Odin statue is going to be one of the new items we're going to have. We actually have a good list of stuff that we're going to have that has not been um, shown off before. So we're looking forward to people, the reactions from people. We're going to be working on announcements ahead of time so people are aware of
Mm-hmm.
what's coming so that they can prepare. Um, and there'll be some pretty cool stuff. I've seen some of the things that they've been working on, and it'll be really fun. I think people are really going to dig it. 2014 we only had a few things that were brand new, but this time I think they're going to have some really cool stuff to show off, and people may be surprised. So I'm looking forward to everybody's reactions. And like I said, we're working hard to make sure that the merchandise area is much smoother than last time. It goes a lot quicker, so that'll be
I'm
good.
I'll be looking forward to it. I remember that merchandise line lining up across the room. Everybody's just ready to go in the middle of the Heavensward announcement. You just see this line of people on the wall ready to get the merchandise and looking over, trying to catch the big screens and everything.
Like, what was that? New expansion? What?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a pretty funny experience in 2014. We've learned a lot, and we are very prepared this time. I think it's safe to say.
All right. Well, some people can't make it to FanFest. There's going to be people who are going to watch it on the stream on Twitch, I'm assuming, and there's going to be a ticket offered for that, a premium virtual ticket, right?
Yeah, so we haven't announced all the details, but yeah, we have to announce we will be doing a premium or paid live stream again. We are getting fairly close now to being able to reveal details and uh, how to watch it and how to purchase that and things like that and what's included. But yeah, we are planning to do a premium paid live stream again.
Okay. And so, what kind of rewards can these people expect from that? There was some that was announced recently. Do you mind going over that again for everyone?
Yeah, sure. So we originally announced at E3 that we will have different Final Fantasy X related minions for each of the different events. So for North America, we'll have an FF10 Riku minion. For the Japanese event, we'll have the FF10 Lulu minion. And then for the European event, we'll have the FF10 Yuna minion. And then at that time, we hadn't revealed what they were, but we did say that there was going to be a glamour outfit depending on male characters or female characters. And recently, during the letter from the producer live on last Friday, we revealed that those outfits are FF10 themed as well. The male character outfit is the Titus outfit, so you can actually dress up in the Titus outfit, and the female character outfit is the Yuna outfit. So you'll actually have a choice between which outfit you choose, which one you get. So you'll get basically for the attendee or the stream purchaser, you'll get a code which will grant you the Riku minion and your choice of one of the outfits.
Okay. Is it Titus or is it Titus? I always call it Titus.
I worked on that game, 2001. I always say Titus. Titus. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
sticking with Titus. I
Stick
don't
to
know
the
if
straw.
it's. I don't quote me as like Square Enix says. But I think
Right.
there's been. I think there's been voice acting that says it. It's so. I don't know. I'm going with Titus.
Okay.
We'll leave that debate for another day.
A different day. Yeah, I gotcha. All right. So going forth and doing, there's multiple panels going on. There's going to be lots of for people to look forward to. Just sit around and just watch the stage when they're done with the
Yep.
events and kind of hang out and just have a good time. Are there any panels that you could maybe say that would be different than last year's panels that people should keep an eye out for?
Yeah, we haven't. I don't. I can't announce anything
Okay.
here, obviously,
All right.
but we will be making announcements soon. Um, I don't know how much to say. I will say. Okay, I won't say anything.
That's fine.
But stay tuned for announcements. I don't want to.
Please look forward to
My
it.
phone will start ringing. Like, oh, actually, I'm going to start ringing.
Yeah.
We'll have announcements soon. I think people will be excited for what we have planned.
Okay. Excellent. And so that includes maybe like the events that's going on that you might be doing and everything else.
Yeah, I mean, you can imagine whichever guests we have from Japan. I mean, obviously, we'll want to utilize them in some form. The panels are a great way for us to not only just at the North American Fan Fest previously, but the Japan one, the European one. They all kind of took different aspects and different looks into the development of the game. They're always kind of fun ways for us to kind of introduce how FF14 is made. So I think we'll always be doing something fun that really takes players behind the scenes and has a good chance to, just showcase fun stuff, how the dev team works, that kind of stuff. So you can imagine there's going to be that kind of fun panels again.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna look forward to it. And no, so archery, things like that. We're gonna announce those things too.
So
Later on?
we put up a short little blurb
Right.
about mini games. I don't know when we want to announce what they are. I will say they're going to be different from last time, so they're not going to be the same archery mini game and the Garlean shooting mini game we had last time. We kind of have this cool theme, the overall fan festival itself, and so a lot of the decisions we made for not only like the mini games or badges and things like that, just the overall theme will really become apparent once you attend the show itself. So you can imagine that the mini games and things that we're planning this time are going to fit within a specific theme. So
Okay. And
I
is this?
won't say much more than that.
I'm assuming this will all be around an announcement around that time that we can look forward to, and then it'll all make sense, right? Okay.
Yep.
All right. I won't dig too much into it. Although I'm eager to. I won't dig too much into it.
I'll go when it comes to, outside the mini games, like the physical games that you do. Of course, we're going to do things again with in-game. We've announced we're going to do our trial roulette again. People always have a really fun time with spinning a wheel and seeing what kind of handicaps that they are given for certain types of content and different types of battles. We're going to have some feast 4v4. We also are going to have something brand new that I can't talk about,
Okay.
but we've hinted at stuff for it. That'll be fun. That's what we're looking forward to, players having a chance to play for the first time and have fun with. Not sure when we're going to announce it, if we're going to keep it secret. Even last time, we kept the Odin trial that we debuted at Fan Festival secret up till the day of. I think he was outed from the goodie bags that people got like the day before. So like Friday, I think I had the goodie bag, and I was like, can't remember. Let me see. Actually, I have it here. I'm trying to remember if we revealed the Odin battle inside of our goodie bag ahead of time. So we did. We had Odin battle challenge.
Oh yeah.
So they got like a sneak peek like the day before the event. We might do the same thing this time where we keep it secret until I'm sure someone gets a goodie bag or something.
I think everyone's probably expecting the new primal that's coming out in 2 or 3.4, But
Oh, for like the trials or
yeah,
for the trial
trial.
roulette? I don't know. We'll see. The fan festival special battle thing has not been revealed yet. I
Okay,
can't say anything more.
okay. So just to remember that wheel, I stood in that line 3 times, trying to get
Did
that
you?
badge. Uh,
Uh,
and what's funny is we did the first one. It was simple stuff. Now I look back on it, I'm like, I could crush that now. There's
yeah.
no chance I would not win at that. But now, back then, I was kind of a little bit newer to the scene. I wasn't like
Right.
as
Right.
in depth now. So I'm
Yeah. I think
hoping.
we made adjustments this time too. I think last time it's hard to remember 2014 every single aspect, but I think it was only extreme
Hmm.
primals, right?
Yeah.
So I think one of the things we wanted to adjust this time is not necessarily because not everybody at Fan Festival is like hardcore.
Hmm.
Obviously, we have hardcore raiders and people who are into like the extreme trials and things. We also have people who are just gatherers, crafters, who are just having fun RPing, things
Hmm.
like that. So I think one of the things we are adjusting this time is a wider variety of the different handicaps and things like that. So it's not
Okay.
necessarily like every single thing is going to be extreme mode, and then you have no gear or
Yeah.
things like
No.
that.
No chest
It's
piece. I think it was, and then there was one with a
yeah,
low item level, and I don't
yeah.
know if there's one with
There's
no pants. I don't think that
I,
was it.
I feel like that we've had something like that, but
Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, we tried to make a fun variety of different options on the wheel this time. So it's not necessarily like can you beat extreme this with this handicap. It's more like this is fun. Are we gonna have a good time? I think that's the biggest
Hmm.
one of the adjustments we made this time.
Yeah. And I also, when we were doing the events, you guys were recording our Moogle Extreme, and they were
Nice.
voice acting. They weren't voice acting. I mean, they were voicing over it, spectating it, and they were just watching us fail each time. And they're like, "Oh, he messed up there. The healer has to keep up." And then it was
Yeah,
funny to watch after the fact.
you're like, oh, thanks for the play-by-play as we
Yeah,
were playing. That's really helpful and really appreciated.
yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
They weren't
That's
saying it
funny.
to us while we were doing it, but I went
Yeah,
back
yeah.
and I
You
listened to
just
it,
watched it.
and
Nice.
I just kind of, what can I do about it? But now I'm
Yeah,
ready.
I
I'm
mean,
going to beat every single one. I'm not worried about it. Uh,
nice. You're gonna have like a hardcore group with you. You're like,
oh yeah.
I'm gonna recruit ahead of time. You're like looking for the top high level people.
I'll get
That's
all
all
the
that
world first
matters.
players, and I'll be like, you guys have to come with me to do this, all right?
All right, guys, we gotta win.
Yeah. And I remember Yoshi actually going over there and doing it too. He was out there helping Black Mage with it.
Yep. He always takes over some poor black mage's station
Yeah.
and then plays for them. And usually it's like he's a ringer, so it's good you have Yoshida on your team. And then sometimes you're
Hmm.
like, oh, I don't want to look bad in front of Yoshida. So you're like, you get stressed out too. It's always funny.
Yeah. Okay. And so, not too much more in announcement wise you can really reveal right now, right?
You wish, man.
I wish.
Just stay tuned. A lot of fun stuff. I mean, a lot of the things for Fan Festival, it's not about us announcing ahead of time. We do. It's kind of just like one of those. It's fun to go there and have it revealed to you.
Hmm.
There's different schools of thought, obviously, on it. It's like, oh, what's going to be there? Or is it like, can we prepare ahead of time? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But for these kind of fun fan events, it's always just kind of like, just have fun, go
Hmm.
with your friends, meet up. People form parties and lines for things. They're like, hey, we're going to do this, and sometimes they stick together the whole show, like you kind of talked about, and that's part of the fun of it. It's just kind of going there and seeing what's available and planning your day out as you go, instead of like 3 weeks ahead of time. You're like, okay, they got this event, we're going to hit this between this panel. We're going, you know what I mean?
Well, you're not going to stop me
That's
from strategizing already. I remember
yeah,
last
that's fine.
time when we didn't know Odin was going to happen, but we
Uh-huh.
said we'll do that event a little bit after we do the other ones, and then we'll just check Reddit for strategy guides and everything from other people who already did it. And while we're
Nice.
sitting there in line waiting, we're just like going through Reddit, and we're just, all right, we know what to do.
Like, okay, we got it, we got this. Yeah, the Odin trial was tough, man.
Oh, it was a big
It's
DPS
very
check.
interesting.
At
Yeah,
the
it
very end, it
was
was.
very interesting.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, and it was still wonderful. I'm one of the first people who beat Odin, guys. All right.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, I'm in lumped into everyone at FanFest, right? Everyone at
Right.
FanFest.
Oh,
So I
okay.
got that privilege, right? All
I
right.
was one of the first people to lose to Odin. You know, let's put it that way. Because we were testing it ahead of time,
Yeah.
and yeah, we lost in front of like the dev team. We were like, oh man, we were
Oh.
doing so well too. It was
Hmm.
funny.
I think they would actually be happy to see you lose. They're like, yeah, I got you, right?
Nice. I don't know. They take sadistic pleasure seeing us fail. It was funny because we were setting up. It was like the Thursday before. We just finished setting up that area, and we were like, all right, let's check it out while we're at the show floor to test it out, make sure everything's cool. And the dev team like walked up, Yoshida and Mr. G. They came up behind us and were watching us, and I was like, okay, cool, no pressure, no pressure. And then we just got creamed like 30%
Oh,
was
wow.
HP left. It was funny, but yeah, it was fun, good
Yeah.
times.
All right. So let's go into a little bit about advice for people who are going out to FanFest because some
Sure.
people, it could be their very first convention. They've never been to one before. Some people, it's simply maybe their first Final Fantasy 14 convention.
Mm.
Is there any advice you can give to people who are just now coming into the convention?
Yeah, I mean, I think the kind of general advice I would give is just, don't try to overdo it and just kind of, don't try to rush everything as fast as you can. It's, since since the two-day event, it's you have time, you can take breaks, you can just enjoy the panels. You don't have to rush and complete every single thing that's available. It's more, you have this time to be with the FF14 community, meet new friends if you are going there by yourself, or to meet up with your free company members or link shell members or static party for the first time ever. And just hanging out inside the show floor and just talking is fun.
Hmm.
So I would say don't try to like I gotta line up in this. As soon as the doors open, I have to rush over here. I mean, I'm sure people are still gonna do that
Yeah.
for things like merchandise and the new battle, special battle challenge thing or something. But just I would say just kind of take it slow. It's 2 days full of an event. There's
Hmm.
8 or 9 hours a day. Just relax, take it slow, get some food. Don't forget to eat. Make sure you stay hydrated.
Hmm.
Just yeah, have fun. Go at your own pace. Don't feel like you need to rush everything, and then just enjoy yourself. I mean, that's one of the things that I would say for anybody in any show is just kind of just don't put pressure on yourself to I have to hit every single thing or else
Right.
I wasted my time or there's going to be lines especially for huge events like this maybe you don't want to stand in line for a while and you can just relax and talk with your friends or maybe you do want to stand in line and go like okay I got to do my merch run now that kind of stuff
Hmm.
so just kind of once you get the program start planning what you want to do just take it easy have fun enjoy yourself.
That kind of brings up one thing that I remember from last FanFest. I remember standing in line. Make sure you also
Mm-hmm.
know what line you're standing in.
Oh god.
Because the night before FanFest happened, there was this kind of autograph thing or take pictures with people who are doing cosplay kind of outside near the
Mm.
pool, right? And there's this huge line wrapped around that event. And then you didn't, that was just for taking pictures. It wasn't for going out into the pool area and hanging out with people. Uh, and so I don't know what happened there, but I was lost for a second.
Nice.
The only reason I realized, I think a lot of people were like that too, is they just saw a couple other people walk in and out, and they're like, okay, well, let's just do it.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah. You're like, I didn't realize.
yeah,
Yeah, hopefully we've made it clear this time what areas are lines for what areas. So I think
yeah,
hopefully, at least on the show floor, you should be pretty safe.
yeah.
Yeah, you should be good.
Yeah, this was outside the show floor. I mean, so lines are going to develop for certain things. And also, people are out there, like Yoshida definitely is going to be out on the floor,
Hmm.
just randomly popping up. So I would say keep your eyes out for it. I remember in that same pool event, we were leaving, and Yoshida was just in one spot randomly with a whole bunch of people crowded around him and people just taking pictures, and he was as happy
Yeah,
as he could be with it. Kurt got her picture
yeah,
taken.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. Like keep your eyes open. I mean, if you try to make it too like, oh, this is a signing session time and here's a desk, it's impossible. It would be impossible for
Hmm.
everybody to. But the dev team, Yoshida, they walk around. Just keep your eyes out. They're more than happy to take pictures and sign things, and they're there to say hi. So don't feel shy. Feel free to walk up to them and get something signed, or take a picture, take a selfie. Yoshida was in many pictures that I saw posted after the event. So I mean, just enjoy yourself. They're there to have fun. Mm-hmm. So if you see them, say hi. I'm sure they'd love to take a picture or sign something. No. And if you see him eating, maybe you don't. No, I'm just kidding.
If he's eating, go up there and bother him. Yeah.
Yeah, just excuse me.
Yeah.
No, I'm sure. Bye.
Oh, and there's one other question I wanted to ask you too.
Sure.
So I think I might have skipped over this a little bit earlier, but are there any parts at all where people are just, you and the developers are celebrating at any point, and they're just out drinking, and they're just like, this is the best, this is our party, this is the game that happened, this game was created, and all these people came together, we've been successful. Is there any kind of those moments during FanFest?
Yeah, it really depends. I mean, after night one, I think most of us, it really depends who's awake or who's, who's still standing after day one. But I mean, those guys, every time we get together, it's kind of a nice chance for us to kind of unwind after an event. Fan Festival is tough to do that just because of the fact that it's as you mentioned, this is our event, so it's a lot more involved. And it's like E3 where you go and maybe you have interviews for like a few hours, or you have stage stuff that you do like a Gamescom. You have stage stuff from X hour, It's not that bad. Fan Festival, for me personally, I know last Fan Festival, after night one, I was just like in my hotel room with my feet in the bathtub, just soaking them for a little bit. Just like, I was so lame. Like, I was like, people were like, hey, let's go out and do stuff. And I'm like, I can't do it, But I'm sure the dev team and those guys are having a good time. Whenever we're there for like, meetings, things like that, they always take us out. They're really cool. And I'm sure that they're having a good time. I know people saw Yoshida on the casino floor a few times after the event was done, and having a good time. So for me, I'm just like, I'm getting too old. I'm so happy to put my feet up in the hotel and relax after day one, or day two where you're doing teardown and stuff like that. It's always super fun and super exciting to do that stuff too.
Yoshida never gets too old for that though, right?
I don't know how they do it, man. It's like I said, those guys, they have energy. And I'm like, how? You just flew in from Japan like 2 days ago. I don't know. I need to ask them how they do it.
They have some sort of secret. They have some ether or something in their pocket. I don't know. Get all their energy back. I don't know. But, okay, guys, I think that's pretty much all the questions I had for today. Matt, I really appreciate you coming on the show. It was awesome to have you come on and talk about this.
Yeah, man, I'm glad to be here. Glad to have a chance to talk about FanFest. I could talk about Fan Festival all day. I mean, I'm dreaming of Fan Festival right now, so.
Yeah, I mean, you have to get back to work on it right after the call probably, right? You just have to go back and start grinding away at it.
I see lots of emails that came in over the time that we talked, so
yeah,
super excited.
Okay, are there any last words or shout-outs to anyone, like people who are working with you or anything on FanFest that you'd like to do before we get off air?
I guess I would just say, everybody on the team, everybody at Square Enix, I don't even want to say just our team, like multiple departments are involved, multiple regions are involved. I think we're all working really hard to just make sure you guys have a fun time, and we're hoping you guys are looking forward to October. It's coming up. Today is September 1st, so we're heading there.
45 days.
But thanks, man. It's good to know the exact days. Yeah. But no, everybody's working hard for you guys, and we're hoping you guys will have a great show and have really fun. I mean, that's why we're doing it. Like I mentioned earlier, it's just about putting on a cool thing for you guys and celebrating FF14 together with you guys. So hopefully all this hard work will pay off, and we'll see you guys in October, and we'll share some drinks and some laughs. And I won't try not to mess up my lines too much on stage, and hopefully my jokes don't bomb. But
I'll have my whiteboard, man. Don't worry.
Just have like pity claps ready for me.
No, I am. Every time, like if you say something like a joke and no one says anything, I'm just gonna stand up and just start clapping.
Just start clapping. Yeah, see, you start clapping, everybody will be happy and start clapping. So
yeah,
probably a good idea.
All right. So thank you. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I mean, other than that, yeah, we're just excited, and I'm really happy I had a chance to come on and talk about it. Usually, Fan Festival is, we don't get to talk too much about it. It's just kind of, I think from the player's perspective, it just kind of materializes, and you
Hmm.
maybe not realize all the stuff that goes into it. So
Yeah.
hopefully this is a good chance for everybody listening to have some insight into how the whole process works, at least a little bit,
Yeah.
and get excited.
I mean, I definitely learned a good bit here, and it's good to know this stuff too, because going to the event, of course, you think, oh, they just throw it together really quick and it just happens. I look at it and I say, how did they make this happen? This is absolutely outstanding. This giant room with all these people coming together, all these different little events for 2 days of straight just Final Fantasy partying, and I don't know. That's what it is to me. So, thank you for
Good
putting it
question.
on. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're happy to. I mean, that's what we're here for, you know.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you everyone for watching the show today. I really appreciate it. Stick around for the segment afterwards, which will handle all the other giveaway stuff afterwards. Again, which is completely MogTalk, nothing to do with the community team or Square Enix. So if it messes up in any way, it's my fault. And thank you very much, Kerr, for helping mod the chat while we're doing this, and Blizana for doing the artwork for the layout here, and Andre Kane from A Kane Productions for helping with the intro music and everything else that we do here, and letting us use some of his covers there. Mog Talk next week, we are actually going to be revealing a interview that I'm doing with Susan Calloway. I'm going to be doing an in-person interview with her. It's going to be a short interview, 15, 20 minutes, somewhere in there. And then we'll be going on with our show, which the details of that will come out a little bit later. It'll probably be just a more normal Mog Talk, but I want you guys to see that interview next week, because we're going to be doing she's doing a Distant World concert close by, and we're going to catch her while we can. All right. Well then, thank you guys very much. Stay tuned, and I'm going to do my awkward waving. Matt, you want to do awkward waving with me? All right. Bye,
Thanks.
guys.